Hello, everybody. I'm Chuck Wiger, State Senator for the area, and today I'm very pleased to have with me Sylvia Neblett, a Maplewood City Council member. Welcome.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
And Sylvia, you're now a member of the City Council. You're appointed by the council as a result of the vacancies created by a new member going to the legislature and former Mayor Slawick becoming the chair of the Metropolitan Council. And you've been active in a number of things, so I congratulate you on your appointment.
Thank you very much.
And for the viewers, I'd like you to share just a little bit about your background and how you got to being on the Met Council. And I know that could go for 2 hours, but maybe just overall, who are you?
Sylvia Neblett, wife, mother of 3 young adult children and 1 grandchild, perfect grandchild, I might add.
Awesome.
And I have lived in Maplewood for 20 years. Have been involved in DFL politics, have been involved in, it started a long time ago, actually.
Where'd you grow up?
I'm an Army brat.
Okay.
Yeah, so I have lived in 10 different states,
Okay.
lived in Germany a total of 9 years,
Okay.
have lived in Minnesota longer than I've lived anywhere in my entire life,
Okay.
and came here to go to school.
Some of those stops, I don't expect you to remember all 10 of them, but some of the stops, Germany and where else on your way to Minnesota?
Well, I was born in Kentucky. My family is originally from Georgia.
Mm-hmm.
I've lived in Washington State. I've lived in New York.
Yes.
I've lived in Tennessee, Missouri.
Okay. And so you've gone to a lot of schools.
I've gone to a lot of schools.
Growing up. And
Yes.
obviously did well as a student. And
I did okay.
Okay. And any particular memory you'd like to share about just growing up as a military family member?
The one thing I think that really helped me, because we moved often, is that you make friends really quickly.
Mm-hmm.
You're very willing to be open to new people
Yes.
and meeting new people, because that was the life we lived. And we were fortunate that the people that we were going to school with also lived that life. So they understood what it was like to be a new person.
Yes.
And so I think it was welcoming. It was a welcoming environment.
Yes.
I have 5 sisters to grow up with.
Yeah.
They're the only people that I've known all my life.
Yeah.
So living in Minnesota now, to raise children in Minnesota from kindergarten through high school is a different lifestyle.
So
for
high
me.
school was where?
Most of high school was in Missouri.
Okay.
Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri, Waynesville, Missouri, Waynesville High School.
Okay.
I moved the middle of my senior year.
Okay.
And because my father had gotten stationed back in Germany for the
Oh,
4th
did you get
time.
Uncle Sam calls?
Yes, and
So what do you do graduation-wise if you're...
it was really, really difficult. My parents offered me the opportunity. We had really good friends who lived in Missouri, and I could have stayed with them for those last 6 months, but I'd never lived away from my family before, so
Yes.
that was not really an option or something that I was willing to consider. So we moved to Georgia to live near my mother's family, my mother and my father's family, because we were going to be gone for 3 years.
Yeah.
And my grandparents were elderly. But as Uncle Sam would have it, my father returned in 6 months, and we moved to Texas.
Okay.
So I ended up going to actually graduating from Worth County High School in Sylvester, Georgia.
Okay.
But I still consider my high school Waynesville High School in Waynesville, Missouri.
Okay. And then following graduation?
Following graduation, I went to a historically black college by the name of Fort Valley State College, right in Middle Georgia.
Okay.
Actually, my father and 5 of, well, not all of them, 4 of my sisters graduated from there as well.
Okay.
My one sister went to our, I won't say our rival school, but she did, and graduated from there. And then after that, I decided that I wanted to go to law school. So I applied, and my sister brought me a card home from William Mitchell.
Yes.
And she said, "Hey, this is a card from Minnesota. You know who else is from Minnesota?" And I was like, "Who?" "Mary Richards," because everybody loved Mary Richards. And So I was like, okay, I'll apply. And the other thing I thought about too, when looking at William Mitchell, was the fact that Warren Burger had graduated from here. And I always thought that I wanted
The
to
Supreme
be,
Court Justice?
of course,
Yes, yeah.
and I always thought that I wanted to be the first woman Supreme Court Justice.
Yes.
Before even Sandra Day O'Connor, that was before then. So I thought, why not? He had a good start. I could have a good
Yes.
start there too. And that's what brought me to Minnesota.
Great.
And I've been here ever since. Met my husband here, had 2 of 3 children here. And have been living my life here ever since.
Wonderful. Was
Yeah.
it much of an adjustment from the South to our climate?
Yes.
Okay.
There was nothing like Minnesota winters. I think my first winter here was, we had one of those weekends in January where the wind chill was like 60 below.
Yeah.
And when you see ice on the inside of the window,
Yes.
it's like, it's a little confusing.
Yeah.
But you adjust. You
Okay.
just figure it out. And
Okay.
I've been here ever since. It's been a wonderful life
And your
for us.
journey at Mitchell, and then after?
After that,
William Mitchell, now
yes,
Hamlin Mitchell. Yes.
Mitchell Hamlin.
Yes.
My background in work, I've always wanted to be involved in civil rights and human rights.
Yes.
So that's what I did. I worked for the state of Minnesota Human Rights Department in contract compliance for probably about 5 years. Went from there to what is now, I don't know what the real the correct name is now, but I was an affirmative action officer for jobs and training.
Yes.
And then from there, I went to Minneapolis Civil Rights, and I was deputy director, and have been deputy director of the St. Paul Department of Human Rights under Tyrone Terrell, and Mayor Coleman, I think, at that time.
Yeah.
And what else? Oh, I've been a human resources director for Mississippi Market.
Yes.
I've had a varied life. I
You
tell
sure
people all
have.
the time, I've had multiple lives.
Very rich, diverse
Very much
series.
so. Very much so.
And you met your husband
Yes.
through school and the family.
Yes.
What brought you to Maplewood, which you are now representing?
You know, we were looking to build a home. And I had a friend of mine whose husband was a developer. And he started talking to us about building. We had been looking for some time, but just couldn't find anything that was right for us. And so the idea of building was something very new to us, but it seemed very easy to do. And so we did that. We found a lot in Maplewood. We like the neighborhood, you know, just the way it feels.
Yeah, it
felt good, and it felt like a neighborhood that you could raise a family in. And so that's how we got to Maplewood.
Good.
Yeah.
And then the kids, you're raising the kids, and you're working as well, and so you're pretty busy, but you also became involved in Maplewood activities.
Yes. I really started being involved in the schools.
Yes.
Parent involvement coordinator for not Maplewood, but John Glenn Middle School.
Wonderful.
And then from there, worked at North High for 5 years.
Great.
And from there went on to work for the district in the equity office.
Wonderful.
Which was really interesting, and it had an opportunity to make impacts.
Yes.
In the school district as a whole, but also just being involved in my community. I love Maplewood.
Yes.
It's a good life for people there.
So involvement in a number of activities and your own diverse experiences in the workforce,
Yes.
and then there was the opportunity to serve on the Maplewood
Yes.
Council. You were selected.
Yes.
Congratulations.
Thank
and what is it like being a council member?
You know, it's very different from anything that I ever imagined, in a good way. I was very nervous at first about even filling out the application because I thought, I'm just a citizen. I love my city, but they're doing major life-changing things on the city council.
Yes.
And so I second-guessed myself a little bit until about the last day before the application process closed.
Mm-hmm.
And what I found is that it is a process in which you educate yourself about things that are going on.
Yes.
You talk to your fellow councilmen, persons, and the mayor, and you come to consensus.
Mm-hmm.
So, which is something I value a lot.
Yes.
But it's really interesting, and I'm really enjoying it.
What would be the top 2 or 3 priorities? Maybe the number one thing. You're learning a great deal, and
Right.
the city does have an overall comprehensive plan
Yes.
and various priorities in place. But for you, what might be the top items that you want to make a mark on?
I think I want to be a voice for our diverse community.
Mm-hmm.
I really, really want to see more involvement. Our community is very diverse.
Yes.
We have communities.
It's totally transforming.
It's totally
Yes,
transforming and has transformed.
Yes.
I mean, in the high school, at North High School alone, I believe there are 56 languages spoken.
Yes.
And those voices aren't all coming from Maplewood, but many of them are.
Yes.
So I just want to always, not that my fellow council people don't now think about diverse communities, but I always want to have that in the forefront of my mind in whatever we're doing, when we're doing contracting, when we're building the North End, everything. When we're thinking about putting in those stations for the lines, the rail lines,
the rush line
the rush
and
lines,
others.
yes. So
the North End is a big challenge right now,
Yes.
and number of things in place. And I know
Yeah.
there's hearings and listening
Yes.
sessions.
yes, it's really exciting. It's really exciting, but I think that there are lots of things to think about.
Yeah.
And thinking about our community and what our community will look like in the next 5, 10 years.
There are particular strategies based on your experience too, where we can more actively listen and involve people of color.
I think you just have to really go to the community. I think it is a bit presumptuous to think that people always have to come to
Yes.
the city hall or to government buildings. I
Right.
think we really, really, really have to go where people are and listen.
Okay.
Just because it's intimidating a little bit, even to come to this building or to come to the Capitol. People ride by here all the time, but to actually feel like you can go in sometimes, it's a little bit intimidating. And I think the same is true for our city hall or any city building.
Yes.
But yeah, I think we need to go to the people.
Great.
Yeah.
Well, that is a major opportunity and
Absolutely.
a challenge, and I know
Absolutely.
you're up to that.
Thank you.
Is there any other single issue that you might want to mention? Of course, there's the north development, the north section, the Maplewood Mall, as to how
Yes.
that might evolve. It's privately held, but
Yeah.
there's obviously challenges that it's facing, and you'll get through it. But could it be that, or any other item that is taking quite a bit of your attention right now?
Right now, when you mention the Maplewood Mall, I think it's really it's an opportunity for the future. I can't wait to see what happens there. I know there are lots of discussions to be had,
Yes.
but it's really exciting to think about because it's such a vital area.
Yes.
And it's just very central to Maplewood. There are so many things right now that are coming up or that'll be thought about.
Yeah.
So I just want to be thoughtful
Yes.
and to listen and to...
Me too.
Yeah, I
Yes,
understand. You
as
understand
a public
exactly.
official, that's what we try to do.
Exactly. So moving forward, I hope that we can get out to more of the community and just be willing to listen and hear what they have to say.
Wonderful. In addition to your role as a council member, as a mom and activist in other areas, what do you do to unwind, to relax?
Oh, I really, really, really am a homebody. I really enjoy watching my 2-year-old grandson run around. I do like to read. I think it's such a luxury to just
Absolutely.
have time to read.
Like fiction, nonfiction?
I really like autobiographies.
Okay.
Autobiographies, biographies are some of my favorites. I like to read about other people's lives and the challenges that they may have had and overcome, and it's just really interesting to me.
And is there any concluding remarks that you'd like to share with our viewers?
I just really, I just hope to serve well. I hope to be willing to listen, and just to be open.
Great. Well, Sylvia Neblett, congratulations again
Thank you
on
so
your
much,
service
Senator
on the
Wiger.
Maplewood City Council. We
Thank
wish
you.
you continued success, and thanks for making part of your journey in life in Maplewood.
I appreciate it. Thank you very
Okay.
much.
And thank you, viewers, and contact Councilmember Neblett if you'd like to provide some advice, guidance, or get more information on any of the items that we've talked about. Thanks.